What up, everybody? Welcome to Legacy TV and the Convo podcast. And man, today is a kind of special day for me because if you guys go through the history of podcasts that I have some real legends of the UFC. I have, people that have fought for the title. I've had, jiu-jitsu legends. I've had all different walks of life, but I have yet to have somebody that's fighting for the UFC right now. And, one of the things that I always tell you guys about is I love my city. I love Santa Ana. I grew up out here. I walk these streets. Every little street down Santa Ana you can imagine, I've been down it. I used to ride all around this whole town. So if I find out that there's somebody from my hometown and especially has trained with some of the people that I have and know some of the people I have that's fighting in the UFC, I'm all for it, man. And the Persian Legacy TV and the crew had to get behind this fighter immediately when we found out he's from Santa Ana. So, bro, we got a very special guest in the house today. We got Danny Puma Silva in the house.
Thank
current
you, brother.
Featherweight in the UFC.
Yeah, current featherweight.
What's going on, bro?
Man, it's
coming from training.
Yeah. I did some mitts today with Coach Anthony. He was Jalen Turner's striking coach as well, and so he's also helping out Tony Ferguson. He's a great striking coach, and I'm finally getting on board with him. I'm happy to be training with him. So yeah.
You haven't been with him for too long? Because I know the name and I definitely have seen him over the years. And for those of you that don't know, he's very popular striking coach out here.
Yeah, really popular.
You know what I mean? And he's helped a lot of really good fighters.
Yeah, he's been around the last year around my life, and we've been working around together. He helped me out for the Contender series, and he's been helping me out my last 3 camps, really, and but I haven't really been on board with him, and now I feel like he's convinced me, and I'm like, oh man, I love your style. I think you could evolve my game and really release what I'm capable of doing.
That's right, because it's important for you to, especially for a fighter, is to get with the right coaches that are going to make your style get better. And you got to also, especially these days, you got to know that that coach has your best interest at heart.
Exactly.
And that's one of the most important things, right?
It has to be like a friendship kind of thing. Right.
It's business, but at the same time, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, and he's a great person, and like I said, I every day he's amazing me with just certain new techniques, and he's just opening my mind. He's like, dude, your body has this, you're capable of doing this, and I'm like, oh, you're right. I didn't realize I'm able to do certain things, and he's just telling me that you are able to do it.
Yeah. So right now you're just kind of maintaining. You're coming off a win right now, yeah. So you're just kind of maintaining the skills, training. So let's take it back for everybody that doesn't really know you out there too much yet. You grew up, were you born and raised out here in Orange County in Santa Ana?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Santa Ana.
What area did you grow up at, if you don't,
Yeah, no, I mean, I grew up right here in front of Memorial Park. Mm-hmm. So I went to Saddleback High, and, this is my hometown too. It's anybody from Santa Ana is all about that brown pride.
A lot of for those of you guys that don't know, okay, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Santa Ana. The Orange County is a nice area. Of course, there's some bad areas. Back in the days in Santa Ana, there was literally Mexican gangs everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm talking about everywhere. When you were growing up in the area where you were at, I'm sure there was some neighborhoods there. I'm not going to speak on the neighborhoods, but were you ever involved in any of that, or were you getting, your friends, or, was that not something you grew up around?
I mean, no, everybody in my family, my cousins were all gangsters, but I had friends being parts of gangs right here, especially Memorial Park being Alley Boys territory.
Alley Boys, shout out to them, man. Yeah. One of the biggest gangs in Santa Ana.
Yeah, and then my dad back in the day used to be affiliated with Delhi. It's just
another one.
It was crazy gangs. And,
it
was scary even just going to school. And I mean, but you gotta make friends with everybody. You gotta be cool with everybody. I was never part of it, you know. But
thank God,
you know, I was always down for my own thing, you know. Like if anybody wanted to fight with me, then yeah, I'll be down. We'll go to the park and we just get down.
You know, it's crazy because in the culture, you know, it's popular. It's popular, especially in the Mexican culture.
Yeah,
you know, it's in Santa Ana. There's a lot of different Mexican gangs, so it's popular. You know, with the white T-shirts and the Ben Davis and the tats on the head and stuff like and you know. People might talk a little like soft about, you know, Orange County, but I'm telling you, Santa Ana it got cracking.
Yeah, people didn't know about Santa Ana. Like, I feel like people pass by.
A lot of people do know.
No,
that are from the nearby areas.
Well, I know because one of my cousins, he's from like up north, from like Santa Maria, and he did time for 7 years, and he will always tell me, he's like, yeah, dude, I was with some dude from Alley Boys, or I was some dude from Delhi, and I'll be like, yeah, man, they're everywhere. You know,
there was all of it here. There's Bloods, there's Crips, there's a lot of Mexican games. But you that's good, bro. You avoided that. Were you into sports and stuff growing up? Did you have like a good upbringing? Like, was mom and pops around? Did you have brothers and sisters? Like, tell us a little bit about, like, you know, family life and growing up.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, I have a single mother, and my older brothers, they were around, but they're 15 years older than me. So they kind of just basically told me, like, hey, man, you know, keep your head straight on. And if you want to do sports, follow our lead. You know, they were wrestlers. My older brother was ranked second in the state and in wrestling and for Santa Ana High. So, yeah, my brothers, you know, they kept me on straight. My mom was pretty tough on me. But, yeah, she was kind of like the one to instigate always me, like, standing up for myself. And she didn't care if he was a gangster. She didn't care if the guy was, you know, gay or anything. She's like, if he touches you, you better touch him back. You know,
stand up for yourself.
Yeah, she was really hard on me, and my upbringing was pretty tough. You know, my uncles used to make me fight with my cousins back in the backyard, but bare knuckle. And we would get down. I'll get my ass kicked every single time, but man, I just couldn't let myself, you know, like I would cry out of frustration because I would get beat. And my older brother would be like, man,
they're toughening you up back there.
Yeah. And then I honestly, as a kid, I hated it. I was like, man, I don't want to fight my cousin, you know, like, but he has my number on me, and my brother is always telling me, like, dude, you gotta grow some webbles, you know, you gotta. You
rather them do it than somebody else do it, you know. I got a son, and so I've been fighting him since he was 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I've
you paying kids, pay some kid up, like, yo,
get on top of him, mount him, hold his arms out. It's like I've been doing that, but now he's 12, bro, and he's like, you know, nobody at school is gonna mess with him. I don't have to worry about that because he's been, you know, he's had that upbringing. So in a way, I know you probably hated it, but it toughened you up and got you ready so nobody was going to mess with you as you were getting older, bro.
Yeah, something you know? I was talking with Coach Anthony today is like, I might not have a lot of time doing MMA because I have 5-7 years that I've been doing it for, but I know how to fight.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up boxing and I grew up wrestling, but street fighting was like my thing. And so when I'm transitioning from fighting and somebody shoots on me, like, it's just like in the street, somebody's gonna, you know, try to grab my body and I'm gonna freaking hip toss them and I'm gonna be on top and then just throw some elbows. You know, like,
good game plan.
It's like good man, mentality.
Yeah, it's the right mentality, especially like, you know, it's like MMA these days, I keep saying it, like jiu-jitsu's changed so much because so many people know how to do jiu-jitsu and the people know how to wrestle. So you better know how to, like, be on top. If you you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do jiu-jitsu, you better be doing it from the top position. You know, like 99% of the time. You got those 1%ers, bro. But even
they're slick from their back.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. Even those guys get messed up when they're on the bottom these days, bro. If you really look at it.
Yep. No. I mean, Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is like one of the best dudes off his back, and you got these Russians that are heavy on top, and they'll just keep smashing you, and you can't really do anything.
That's right. Speaking of, you see Islam and Dustin,
dude. Great fight, really competitive. Obviously, Islam was winning every round, but
Dustin had his moments, man.
Yeah. But I think people didn't give credit of how good Islam striking is too.
He is. He's good everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, they just, you know why I think it is? It's because they're so good at that particular part of,
makes people fearful.
That no, it's not just that people like don't give him the credit of having good striking because the wrestling is that much better.
That much better.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he definitely has good striking, bro. Come on, he's in there with the best in the world. He's been able to stand on the feet with everybody. But damn, Dustin, I think one thing they were talking about, bro, is you know how he keeps like pulling at his shorts and stuff.
That little tick he got.
That's how that dude. I think that's how the dude got the takedown.
Yeah, maybe it's a second of you like going here, you know, like it's.
Bro, I saw a breakdown, right? I don't know who the dude was. I saw it, and what happened was he was breaking down like he keeps going for to lift his shorts, and as he goes to lift his shorts and pulls them up and brings his hands, Islam shoots that single that he whips that leg around and then gets on top and then he gets the finish. One, you know what I'm saying? But that's MMA though. Yeah, that's one little small mistake with a dude that's that good
and knows how to fight. You know, like you can get away with that in the streets. You going like that. You know,
nobody's
like
gonna choke you.
But you're fighting like the best dude in the world and just knocked out Volk with a head kick. I was like, come on, man, you can't. Like me and my girl were talking about it. It's like we were watching him keep pulling up his shorts, and it's just a second of you putting your guard down.
Right. Where the whatchamacallits, the Speedos.
I know, the spandex,
where are those?
The compression shorts,
Like if you have that problem, like to where you feel like you got, just wear those. You know what I mean?
I wear them. I wear spandex because I don't want anybody to grab my shorts in fights anywhere. People always grab, like they'll grab your shirt, they'll grab your shorts, your pants. I'm like, I want the least things on me possible. I'm not gonna, like, if I go out to a club, I don't even want to have jewelry on me. Cause I'm like, what if I get in a fight?
You lighter guys feel comfortable wearing that stuff because you guys are in a lot better shape. You know what I'm saying? Because I was telling Paul Herrera, shout out to him, that's the reason why I didn't wrestle. I liked wrestling. I wanted to wrestle, but then when I saw the outfit that you had to wear to compete, they were about to hand me one. I was like, I'll be right back. I was gone, bro. That was it.
Never came back.
I couldn't do it, bro. I get it though, but if you're in shape, like damn, like why not? But man.
My abs would be going through the singlet, bro.
No, not for me, man. But so okay, let's get back to you, bro. So great fight though, but Islam's a beast, man. Yeah, 100%. Let's get back to you though, bro. So you're growing up. You doing what? Are you playing any sports? Like I know you said you started wrestling. Were you competing in wrestling?
I wasn't competing, but I was doing an age grouping program over here in Santa Ana. It was called Wolfpack, and I did it for a few years. And then my brothers were teaching me how to box. You know, in the backyard. Yeah, and I mean, people are always telling me that my main style is boxing and being like a forward pressure Mexican, but it's like. What's wrong with that though? There's nothing wrong with it. You know?
I like that style. Hey, if they say that, that's to me, that's one of the and you can stuff takedowns. Like, what's wrong with that?
No, but I mean, like, I meant it as like people don't think that I know how to wrestle either. You know, what I mean. Like my last fight against Josh CULIBAO, which
say that last name again.
Josh CULIBAO.
CULIBAO.
Yeah, he's
shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out. I don't like it, but shout out.
Respect to your past opponent, though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He's building you. He's a stepping stone.
He was a hard fight for me for my first UFC fight out of the contenders, and I'm glad that he took it, and I do give him respect for fighting me, and
it takes another person to build you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Each person that you fight, even though you might have some tension, without that person, it's not your career doesn't keep evolving. So it's almost like afterwards, it should be like dang, I appreciate you.
We
helped each other grow. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's why one of the things I think people love about MMA. Because in MMA you see that after even
that sportsmanship.
Yeah, that's why the sport gets so big. But bro, before you get to the UFC, when do you decide to start you're boxing in the backyard? Do you just start training somewhere? How do you get started in the MMA? Were you watching the UFC at the time?
I wasn't watching the UFC. I mean, I kind of only knew of Cain Velasquez and like Henry Cejudo, like the only two Mexicans.
Shout out to Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, man.
And what he's going through, man.
Yeah, it's tough
crazy,
situation, man.
I do the same thing though, bro.
No, yeah.
Maybe worse. I'm serious. I have 3 children, and dude.
It'll be worse,
bro, for sure.
I mean, you have to. I mean, like,
what did you expect this man to do? And then they let the guy out of jail. On top of that, it's like, Oh man,
crazy. No, it just gets people's blood boiling.
Yeah, we won't get too much into the politics of the case, but damn.
But yeah, man, like
shout out to him, bro. I hope all he gets is a anger management class. That's a good that's a good outcome.
It was just frustrating seeing him in jail in the first place. It's just like he shouldn't even be in there.
Period. Man, either way, that dude's gonna get dealt with. I hope.
I hope someone does something.
Because if he ends up in the right yard, he will get dealt with. That's for sure. For sure. But let's get past that.
All right. You get too emotional here.
So you like Kane?
I like Kane. You know, it's the guy rapping Brown Pride and Henry Cejudo being like the first Chicano to win the Olympics. Yeah, you know, and it was super cool seeing that. But I was really interested in boxing. You know, I wanted to be a boxer, but you know, at the time my mom just didn't have the funds. I used to go to a place called 2000 Gym. It was in Garden Grove, Santa Ana area by the block. And I used to run 7 miles just to get there, and then like my mom would pick me up, or sometimes I had to come back running, and it was just too much of a hassle for me to
continue to do
you know. It was just like nobody was really backing me up with it. I mean, my family honestly didn't really believe that I could box, so I was like, you know, I'll get into wrestling in high school. Once I get into high school, I'll get into wrestling. Wrestle all 4 years. Was ranked second in CIF. I mean, I should have gone to state, but you know, like I was just too much of a troublemaker. Didn't even make grades, so I didn't get to qualify for CIF because of that. But
you didn't make weight.
No, I didn't make my grades. You know, like I didn't meet the requirements for that because it was tough, and it was just because I got into an argument with one of my coaches, and he was the athletic director, and they were gonna curve my grade so I could go and be able to be qualified.
You were about to get hooked up.
Yeah, they were gonna hook me up, but that fool pissed me off, and I flicked them off.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story while we're on this subject. They were gonna do that for me too, but because I was starting on the front line and on the defensive line. I was center, nose guard, and then I was gonna be, and the team was really good. And I was gonna be the next year. I was gonna be already on the varsity. I was gonna wrestle, all this stuff, but I had 5 credits the whole year. So they kicked me out. And I had to go to continuation school, and there was no more sports for me, bro.
Did you go to Chavez?
Nah, the continuation school, and I ended up going to. I got kicked out of Santa Ana. I ended up going to a place called Self, and it was like kids from base from all the different areas in Orange County. It was in Irvine. Self Continuation Center.
Oh.
Well, yeah, bro. So okay, so tell me, keep going.
Yeah, so I had 3 or 4 AP classes, so I was struggling because these were like really hard classes for me, and my counselor was really trying to get me to college, and the grade that I was doing bad was in English. I had a C there, and they were going to curve it to a B. And just because I was doing pretty average in my AP classes, and so they were going to do that, I got into an argument with the athletic director, and I flicked them off, and I was like, man, like, F you, bro. Like, you know, like I was just being a brat. And that dude was like, all right, F you, you know, F me, all right. Watch what's going to happen, you know, like, you little kid, you don't know what you're doing.
You just did that to the wrong dude.
Yeah, and then, like, I basically shot myself in the foot, and I was like, man, I lost my chance, you know. Like, I had already beat a lot of dudes that I knew I could have qualified, I could have placed, and I could have easily taken second in CIF or even first, and made it to Masters, make it to state. But like I said, I was just being a little brat kid, you know, from Santa Ana, just like I didn't know any better, and like I did it to the wrong person. And it was a lesson learned for me, you know. I've matured a lot from that, and obviously I wouldn't want my kid to do what I did.
Right.
You know, like I'd be like, be respectful to your elders all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. You get further in life with a smile and respect than you do with anger and frustration.
But man, I don't want to blame my dad, but yeah, I was raised, you know, just by my mom, you know, so I feel like I could get away with a lot of things, you know. And my mom, she tried to be as manly as she could with like a harder hand, but she's still a girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
she can't teach you how to be a man. Only a man
can do that.
Can do that for you, and that's difficult.
It's difficult. But
And that's why
by her raising me, now I'm like, man, you did above and beyond what any woman I think could have done. And I mean, shout out to any single mom. But my mom was hard, you know, trying to raise 3 boys from Santa Ana is just like one of the most difficult things to do.
Shout
and
out to moms, man.
She 2 of my older brothers are building engineers for the union. The youngest me is in the UFC.
Successful kids,
you know. So
amazing.
It's just, man, she's still struggling, but I'm trying to provide for her now.
You're going to. You're doing it, bro. Yeah, hell yeah, man. That's what's up, because you know a lot of moms, like, you know, as difficult as it is to say, I'm actually a single dad that raises 3 kids by myself. Yeah. So being a dad that raises 3 kids by myself, I kind of see what women go through. I, of course, am nothing like the woman, because I can't do, you know.
Not as nurturing.
Yeah, you know, I'm nothing like that. But like, damn, they do all that plus the nurturing and the extra stuff, and take you to the sports, and it's like, there's nothing like a mom, bro. Yeah,
so, you know, going back to that, I mean, my mom, she tried to, you know, introduce me to a lot of the sports, but she just couldn't, you know. And you know, once I graduated, I put myself into a trade school, became a welder, was welding for a little bit, and then a little part of me still had that kind of itch, you know. I was like, man, I never became a CIF champion, you know. Like, I wanted something successful. Like, I didn't want to tell my kids, I'm like, yeah, I could have done a, you know, kind of guy. And I was like, let me at least try do jiu-jitsu. So I walked into Tomaselli's academy, and
shout out to Mike Tomaselli. Shout out to my boy Mike. I know Mike for years, man. That's the homie.
Yeah, Mike. Shout out to Mike. I met him over here at and on Costa Mesa, like right off of Victoria.
Newport Boulevard. Yeah, okay. I remember that, the Iron Bodies / Mike, that was Mike's first spot after he moved from where Joe was where I came. Yeah, go ahead.
So I met Mike, and I was doing jiu-jitsu, and then he just saw me one day hitting the bag afterwards, because I was just trying to hit the bag after jiu-jitsu practice, and he's all like, hey, you should come and do sparring on Fridays. Marco teaches, and I was like,
Marco Ruas,
King of the Streets.
Yeah, King of the Streets.
And
which is, guys, like when somebody tells you, hey, you know, this is a
legend.
Yeah.
No, that guy's a legend.
Come train with one of the best.
Yeah, but no disrespect, at the time, like I said, I was never familiar with MMA, and so especially like the grandfathers of MMA. Like, I didn't know who anyone was. I didn't know who Cub was either. So I walk in, and I did my research on Marco, and I'm like, oh man, this dude's old school. I'm like, I saw him tombstoning some dude, like big ass heavyweight guy, like he's just grabbing him like nothing, putting him on his head. I walk in, and he put me with some of the better guys there. There was a Muay Thai striking coach right there, and I just put it on him, you know. And he's all like, tells another dude like, hey, take him down. And this was the wrestling coach, and I took that dude down, and I'm like, you think you're gonna take me down, bro?
Damn.
I was like, all right, you know,
natural.
Yeah, I mean, because I grew up wrestling, and then like the Muay Thai guy, in my head, I'm like, he's gonna kick me, so all I have to do is just close the distance on him, just box him and put him up against the wall. And so that's what I did, and he came up to me, slapped me right on my chest with his big old hand, you know, and he tells me, he's all like, you got a lot of potential, you know, come next Friday. So I came next Friday, and I see Kami there, but Kami, I didn't know who he was at the time yet, just eyeing me the whole time.
Kamiar Safdari, yes. Just shout out to him. Rest in peace, my brother. A friend of a family member to me always. I love that dude.
Likewise, he was like a pops to me, and so when I met him, he came up to me, and he tells me, he's all like, you want to fight? And I'm like, nah. And he's all like, well, I could get you a fight in 3 months. And I'm like, that's cool, man. I'm like, who are you? Like, because he just came up to me and started asking me questions, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I'm like, my first expression, I'm like, who is this Mexican? You know, because I'm like, I thought he was Mexican. And I'm like,
people always think I'm Mexican too, but we're Persian.
Yeah, and he tells me, he's all like, I'm Cubs manager, and I know he was trying to flex on me a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. But in my head, I'm like, I don't even know who Cub is. And
damn, you didn't even know who Cub Swanson was?
No,
Shout out to him.
If they would have shown me a picture of him with palm trees, strings, I would have been like, oh yeah, I know who that is, But off his name, I didn't know who he was, because I wasn't even that familiar with MMA. But he's telling me like, hey, I manage guys like Dan Argueta, and I've been around, Georgie,
Karhanian, the show,
and he's just name dropping me, and I'm like, bro, I'm getting overwhelmed, because these guys are like dope fighters. I just don't know about the game yet. Ask me anybody about boxing, and I'll say I know who that is. And so he tells me, he's all like, well, I could get you a fight, so if you want to fight, I could do it. And I'm like, all right, let me think about it. I was really interested, and I knew that I was like, man, like without really looking for it, maybe this is my itch that I was trying to find, because that's what, because that's what I was going to do jiu-jitsu for, is to try to scratch that itch. So it almost felt like it was.
It went from jiu-jitsu to a straight fight,
literally in a week. And I was like,
tell you to get in the cage already. Yeah,
and I felt like God really just dropped Kami on me and dropped all this, and I was like, okay, I think I should say yes. So I told him, yeah, got me a fight, won my fight, won a belt in amateurs. I was riding with Kami.
I saw you won a couple. I think you lost a couple times in the amateurs.
Yeah, I lost twice in the amateurs. Lost to a champion while trying to defend.
That's MMA though.
Yeah, I was never worried about losing.
This is part of the sport that's so beautiful. Is that's where you learn and how you get better. And if you look at it, 99.999% of all fighters have lost, and it's those ones that keep going, and it pushes them to get better, and they don't let it keep them down, bro. So I know you did that, because obviously,
yeah, my career after being pro, like, it really kind of skyrocketed.
So did you stay before we move on from Mike Tomaselli? Have you rolled with Mike Tomaselli?
Not in a while,
but when you first did.
Yeah, I will roll with him. He will mess me up.
Mike Tomaselli is a beast, for you guys that don't know. Before we move on, shout out to the fight school in Santa Ana, Mike Tomaselli and all the guys there. Salute.
Yeah, they're out here now on Main Street.
On Main Street in Santa Ana.
Yeah, Main and Warner.
I told him I was there the other day for Joe's Red Belt, and I was like, man, you moved to the city, man. What the hell?
You're really trying to rep now.
Hell yeah. But yeah, that's the homie, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Mike, and to Joe Morel too, because he gave me my first blue belt.
Oh yeah.
I'm still a blue belt, but yeah.
you blue belt?
Yeah. I mean, because
but Joe Morel blue belt's a good blue belt, bro.
I mean, I've never been like too like
worried about the belts and stuff.
Promotions.
You're doing MMA anyway. Like, people forget. I love jiu-jitsu and stuff, but like MMA.
It's an attendance thing for it's a different thing.
Yeah, it's not. There's no gi on. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's gloves on. It's a completely different game.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're hitting, so
yeah.
But, I just wanted
that changes everything. Getting elbowed or punched.
Yeah, there you go. But so coming up, you get your blue belt. Are you training at Tomaselli's this whole time?
Yeah, I'm still training. I'm training at Tomaselli's all the way. I think, I was still there.
Till pro?
Yeah, I think till pro.
Okay.
Yeah, and like maybe when I was like 1 or 2-0, and then I completely left. But I'll come here like once in a while. He also, when I got injured, I was coming in and out from there, going to Marco's classes on Fridays, and that's where I started, was over there at Mike's.
Now tell me, like, the transition. I know Mike Tomaselli's got a dope school, but I'm sure, like, when you're transitioning to becoming a pro and everything, you kind of want your own, like, team of all fighters that you are kind of in your weight class a little bit more structured. I would say, versus a class per se.
Yeah, it's
because I know you guys built your own kind of team type of thing,
now
right?
Bloodline, now we have our own team, and I say it's a quality type of team. I think this is the best room for any 45er to train at. you know, and we got Cub 45er, me 45er. We got a D1 wrestler, 7-2 record, Chris McCate 45er. You know, that guy's pressure is crazy. We got another guy named Douglas, Larion Douglas, and he's also a great 45er. Just fought for LFA and beat a guy from American Top Team. We just have so many good. But they're all
okay. So speak on that, right?
Quality.
I think that's one of the most important things, like for you guys that are fighting at the highest level, right? You don't need to be in a room with a 225-pound dude training. It's just not, number one. Yeah, like if for self-defense, if you were training for self-defense purposes, great. You should train with everybody because, you know, if you're in situations like
you need a feel for every weight.
There you go. Yeah. But if you're fighting in MMA, you want to kind of be fighting, you know, training, sparring, moving around with guys in your weight class.
Yeah, because you need
close to your weight class.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, because you need the confidence of beating another 45er, and you need that humble pie of another 45er kind of putting it on you. Yeah. No, it's really. I mean, I'm not a D1 wrestler, and Chris McCata takes me down. You know, I'm not trying to win every sparring session. You know, like to me, we don't even spar hard. You know, we play spar. It's only fast hands, all speed, no power, and heavy wrestling.
Right. So and you know what? And I think one of the reasons why you guys spar like that, if you can correct me if I'm mistaken, but I recently heard Cub Swanson talking about this, and I remember him telling a story on a podcast recently about him getting like, you know, flying kneed and having all his face broken in a sparring session. And I agree. I agree that, especially, okay, look, jiu-jitsu, like if you guys are diving on stuff, like it's still, you're gonna tear somebody's knee apart. Like every type of sparring should be controlled, especially like when it comes to the MMA.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah. Because I'm assuming that you guys train with little gloves.
Yeah, we train with,
because I always in Joe's gym, we always train with little gloves too. But you should be controlled enough, right?
Yeah. We're pros.
Speak on it.
Well, I mean, we're pros, so you're not an amateur. You know how to control your power. You know, like you should know how to play spar with someone. And like me and Cub, man, we have like the craziest sparring sessions. We could spar each other for an hour, and not one of us get injured.
Right.
You know, and it's a cardio base. It's all mental. You know, like we're trying to set each other up. You could feel the momentum's changing where he takes over and he's like landing 4 or 5 punches and like maybe gets a takedown. And I'm like, all right, you know, he's getting the momentum. I got to take it away from him now. And I get him down and I'm winning. And now I'm touching him. And he's trying to like, okay, now Danny's pushing me. Now I got to somehow figure how to disrupt them. And that's all mental, you know. And like when you're fighting, when you're sparring and you end up getting in a fight and you start throwing hard, you end up building bad habits, you know, because now you're like, man, this dude's throwing hard. You know, now I have to be a little bit more reserved. You don't get to be creative. You don't show your full game. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes with a lot of coaches and a lot of schools nowadays is that, you know, they're throwing flying knees, you know, and like throwing spinning back kicks is like, if you're going to throw a spinning back kick, you better control that.
Right.
Because if you hit me, I'm going to be mad and I'm going to try to fight you now because you shouldn't even do that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I always tell the guys that, you know, that I train, like, because, you know, I'm a coach now. It's like I came up hard. Yeah. But when I got to a point where I was teaching and I was really good and I was beating everybody in the gym, Joe started telling me, dude, you got to stop it. Stop making everybody like they'll go away.
Yeah. And
the reality is, and I tell my students, is take care of each other, because this is, you know, some of your training partners that they got, like, for example, you guys got fights coming up all the time, right? And you don't want to waste that fight in the gym to where you can't go get paid and further your career. So I think it's what Cub's doing, you know, with you guys over there,
controlling the environment.
There you go. Having a good coach that's been like that, you know, and as experienced as Cub, man, because Cub's like good everywhere.
He's good everywhere.
One of the best dudes, you know, to ever do it, in my opinion.
Exactly.
You know, speak on some of the wild stuff about Cub, man. The sparring sessions. Has there been ever a time where you guys ever really like, you know,
get heated? Nah. I mean, nah. He's No, I mean, there's times where I poke at him, you know, and I'll be like, man, you ducking me today, you know, like I'll poke at him and then he won't say anything, and then like it'll be the next day he'll be like, let's go, you know, like, I'll be like, oh shit, you know, he's trying to bring it on today,
all right.
You know, but. You know, it's always about respect.
He's gotta have the energy for you. Some days, I know he's been fighting for a long time. No, man. Respect to him. And another thing that I did train with Cub when I was a purple belt and blue belt a little bit. He had come through a couple times. But another thing that I have in common with him, his first coach Ramon Diaz, that passed away, that was killed. In Palm Springs. Killed, that was my first place that I trained at because when I got out of jail when I was in my early 20s, I moved out of Santa Ana to Palm Springs to get off probation. Yeah. And out there, I started putting my rap music out, selling CDs, and I that's how I ended up running into Ramon Diaz and that gym, and that's who was bragging to me about. Yeah, I got Cub Swanson over here, man. You're gonna love it over here. I'm like, all right, man. I'm there. Yeah. But yeah, man. Shout out to Cub and to rest in peace to Ramon Diaz too, man. So tell me this, bro. So you were you already training with Cub before you got in the UFC?
Yeah. Yeah,
so okay,
I've been training with him.
He was helping you build your. Oh, since then, okay.
He was the amateurs. Okay. He was Kami was immediately, even though I was still training at Tomaselli's, he new thing had kind of started, which was the training lab, right? And it was before, you know, Calavita and like everybody else kind of started like jumping in and making it more of a franchise kind of thing, or whatever. Conditioning coach, dude. Yeah. And
I would never do one of those workouts.
Nah, me neither. I think
seems kind of crazy, man. Everybody looks like they're about to die.
I mean, it's a 15-minute fight. You know,
I'll go swim or something.
Yeah, it's a 15-minute fight. I mean, everybody has their own methods. You know, like I'm not gonna be one to question them.
No disrespect at all. I think it's cool, but I'm like seeing how the guys look, and I'm tired. I'm like, nah, man. I don't think I'll.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But Cub, you know, Kami sent me out to the training lab, and we got guys like TJ Dillashaw, Juan Archuleta, you know, Cub, and there was a lot of guys, Rafa Garcia.
Tell the you know, everybody one of the craziest sparring sessions in the gym. Like whether it be TJ, one of the tell me a story that like you know that nobody knows, like you know that you can't speak on about a sparring session with one of the guys, like you know.
Man, I don't know.
It has to stay behind closed. See, you know why I asked him this? Because check this out, right? He's a real one. He didn't speak on it. He didn't speak on it. I gave him the opportunity to speak. He's like, I don't know. You're not technically. Look, you're not supposed to speak about the gym training sessions, right? Yeah. And a lot of people do. But you know, as me, I'm gonna ask, and then it's your job to be like, well, you know, man, I can't speak on that. You know, you really know he's from Santa Ana. No, I can't. There we go. See, there you go. That's it. That's good. And I don't think, and that's one thing that I'm glad I asked you, because I don't think you should be talking about the sparring. That even if, let's say, you did beat up one of the guys that's the top guy in the UFC, you shouldn't speak on it because it's training. It wasn't a real fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? My Joe always told me that. He's like, don't speak on nothing that happens in training.
Yeah, anybody should be. I think anybody should be smart enough to know that a sparring session is just a sparring session. You know, like
that dude might have just came. You know, he might be tired. He's like not having his best day. Anybody
I've never, like I said, even if I'm taking like L's in sparring session, like I never take them as like, I suck. Yeah, you know, like to me,
part of the training.
It's like you know, I'm purposely putting myself in a vulnerable spot. I'm not like, hey, you can't shoot on me, you know, like all you gotta do is box me, you know, like like I'm not gonna do that. Can't punch
me in the face.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna be that type of guy. I'm okay with like, hey, you know, if you beating me in these spots, it's because that's my weak spot. You know, like, I gotta get better. If I'm beating somebody up in that spot, that's because they need to get better, you know. So
100%.
Like to me, it's like you shouldn't be too worried about winning sparring sessions or anything like that. Like that's.
So you're building. I know you got to the LFA, which is shout out to Ed Soares, the homie. Shout out to Ed, great promotion. And we you know, he's been on the show and we talked about it. You know, as you guys are coming up, one of the best and most premier organizations to be in before getting into UFC. And you did well there, and you're making a name for yourself in the LFA. And then is your mom proud of you at this point? Like before you get into the UFC, is she like, did she taking you for like yeah, my son's a fight? Like was she believing in the dream?
No, she's not to me. But to everybody else, she's like, she's proud about it. You know, like she'll tell everybody that my son, you know, he's a good fighter. Like he does well. But my mom has always been like, you know, it's too much of a hard sport for how little you get paid.
Yeah.
And my first pro paycheck in Kami, you know, gave it to me, and then it was $500. $500, my first pro, and
which is nothing.
It was nothing, you know, like for a camp. Camps are expensive. I drove all the way to Spotlight 59 in Coachella, and I was the first fight for the UFC Fight Pass for CFFC, and I was fighting a dude that they were trying to feed me to him. You know, this guy was supposed to be, he was undefeated in the amateurs belts, and they're like, oh, Bellator wants him, blah blah blah. And I guess his opponent didn't make weight, so he came to CFFC. Man, I dropped that dude twice in the first round, and I finished him in the third. And you know, ever since then, people were like, oh, okay, this kid is good. You know, like he got something. But I got paid $500, and I remember showering, and my hands were all bloody, blood coming down everywhere, and I'm like, man, for $500, you really want to do this? Yeah. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, well, you know, this is the thing.
You don't do it for money, for sure.
Number one, you definitely don't do it for money. No. That you can't do anything in life for money. It's got to be a passion. Yeah. Because if you only do it for money, you get weeded out. Yeah. But if it's a passion, then the money will come. Yeah. And I believe, like me, man, look at the things that I've you know, becoming a coach and I rap music and podcasting, starting from scratch on all that stuff. I did a lot of my rap music on my own. I invested in myself. I put myself out there. I independently sold over 250,000 CDs in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to invest. You got to be your biggest believer. You got to. You know. I
think my motivator was not just my mom, but I think for me was, I want to see what the version of myself is if I see the end of it. Yeah. And that's what really motivated me, because that's what I was doing it for. I was like, oh, how good can I get?
So tell me how you find out about the Contender series.
So I had just won my last fight in LFA. I fought Ortega, the Lemon Killer. Shout out to him.
Respect.
He was a game opponent. He came in, took a short notice with me. He was supposed to fight that day, but he came in 10 pounds overweight. Damn. So I took the fight with him and won in the first round. And they hit me up. I was trying to get a title shot for LFA. I wanted to be the LFA champion,
which would have been good too.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been happy with that. Yeah. You know, the next best thing is either getting a short notice or getting into the contenders. And I got called up. Cub was doing a camp in Colorado. He was getting ready for Hakeem. Yeah. And he told me, he's like, hey, come out here, distract your mind, help me out for a week, and you know, and then once you come back, get back in camp. You know, like use that week out there in Colorado with me as, like, you know, your start week. Yeah. So we were all excited. I called my whole family. You know, I was just like really emotional because, man, I was like, man, I'm really knocking at the door now for the UFC. Like, I didn't think it was going to be that fast. But they wanted me. Cub was doing his job as a manager, you know, poking at Sean Shelby and, you know, telling him, like, hey, watch this kid's last fight. You know, he dropped the dude like 6 times. And Sean Shelby's like, all right, you know, I'm going to get him on then. Oh, yeah. And
man, people don't realize, like, to me, like, that's like me getting signed to a major record label. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a big accomplishment, bro. Yeah. Like, that's
like getting into the NFL.
Yeah, like, dude, you made it to the biggest organization of, like,
without the money,
the gladiators of the world. Yeah, without the money, you ain't getting paid yet, but still, like, is the opportunities, the
opportunity, and it's up to you to make it happen. Right. You know, like. And again, you're not doing it for money, but it is the biggest organization that you could get in. You know,
it's a blessing.
It's the NBA, it's MLB. You know, it's just I think the stat is like 15 or lower than that to get in the UFC. Yeah, you know, 15% or lower. So getting that call up to the Contenders was like really, really emotional for me. Like, I was like, man, this dude ain't beating me. Like, my mom's gonna be right there. My dad's gonna be right there. I ain't losing in front of them. Like, I don't care what it is.
Were you able to have them there? Was it in the Apex?
Yeah, it was in the Apex.
That's right.
My girl, my mom, my dad, you know, Monty,
It's like a small setting, so it's not that many people there. So
oh yeah, dude, it was perfect for me because like I rather fight in a little private thing and than fight in a big crowd. Not that I'm not nervous about fighting in a crowd, but to me it's like this is a sparring session with a few people around, and I'm about to beat your ass, you know. Sorry, but I'm not gonna lose in front of like
my family,
especially if I could hear them, I'm not losing.
They're watching, they're right there, hell yeah, bro. And then so you end up winning that fight.
Yeah.
You went.
That guy was a Golden Gloves champion. He was like 2 fights away from making it to the Olympics as a boxer, and Angel Pacheco. He's a good fighter, like tough,
absolutely.
Tough.
And after you get your hand raised right then and there, you're like, I have arrived, man. I'm in the UFC.
Yeah,
I just got my first win.
I didn't feel like that. No, I feel like, man, the real hard challenge is now going to start.
Yeah,
like who are they going to give me as my first fight?
Every fight becomes that much more real now, that much more difficult, that much more serious.
So when they gave me Josh CULIBAO, a guy that is ranked in top 30s and former champion in another organization, fought guys like Jalen Turner, Charles Jourdain.
He's been around.
He has like 6 fights deep in the UFC, and like they're giving him a guy from the Contenders, and I'm like, okay, this dude's good. He choked out Milsic. That guy was just he's a good opportunist, fast, good footwork, hits hard. He was just a good fighter overall, and that's why he was a champion in another organization. So I was nervous. Fighting them, and but that's really what lit the fire in me, because I was like, all right, man, like I need to be nervous to try to rise to the occasion.
Be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna be slacking. If I think he's a chump, I might be able. Not that I'm trying to be disrespectful, but I probably won't be as scared or nervous about things.
As dialed in as you're gonna be.
Yeah, but that's how much of respect I had towards him, because I knew how dangerous he was.
Yeah. It kind of worked out. Like you got the, you went from the LFA, you did the Contender Series, you won on the Contender Series, and then you get a fight that's, this guy's, is legit. And then, take me through that fight a little bit. Like, you don't have to go through it, but like take me through what you thought you did right, what you could have done better, and the outcome.
I mean, I dropped them twice in the first round, like pretty fast right off the bat.
Get those Santa Ana hands, my boy.
all the times out here in the street, I'll be catching people with uppercuts. But yeah, because I feel like I came in southpaw, and I was trying to bait him to duck. I'm gonna throw a heavy overhand, and this was gonna duck. And as he ducked, I got him with an uppercut, and that wobbled him, and he shot, and I got him in the front headlock, went into my choke. He got out. I was fine with it. I'm like, I'm not really trying to hold him right now. I was still trying to feel him out. It was too soon that I rocked him. Yeah. I'm like, I don't think he's out yet. And I let him get up, hit him again with like a 2-1. He almost fell again. And I'm like, man, this dude's easy. And like, that was the first mistake I did, was because I was touching him too easy off the bat. And I'm like, man, this is going to be over. I'm like, I'm about to finish this dude. I'm like, come on. And my warm-up wasn't the best. I didn't have the best warm-up. I felt a little bit shaky going in there. I didn't feel on. So I was like, man, even though I'm not on right now, I'm still touching this guy. Yeah. And boom, he rocks me. Oof. And fractured my nose. And then he saw it, and then he started hunting me. And I was like, I just nodded at him, and I told him, all right, it's on now. I was like, it's on.
But let me tell you this right there. You learned a valuable lesson in that moment, I feel, because you understood that even though the guy might be hurt, it's still dangerous. Yeah,
and that was my mistake. I should always know that a dog, up against the cage is always going to freaking bite.
That's their last little,
and it was a mistake. I put my guard down because it felt so easy, and I was like, man, like it almost felt like I needed something to snap me back into reality, and he definitely put me back there, and that was just show how experienced he is, and I mean, it went to decision.
And then it became a scrap.
It became a scrap, you know, like
scrap the rest.
Like I felt like I won the first round. I felt like I lost the second, and then the third, I'm like, I have to pressure this dude. I need to win this.
Right.
And
did the corner give you those adjustments? Like, hey, bro, we got to get this in this.
Yeah. They're like, you gotta put it on him this last round.
And that's one of the most valuable things. Like, instead, you know, I see some coaches. You hear some of them, they're screaming at the guy like, nah, dude, just get keep the guy calm and tell him what he's got to do. Right. Tell him how he can win the fight. That's what he needs to know. Am I right?
Yeah.
And sometimes he doesn't even need that. Sometimes he just need to chill and breathe for a second and get his breath back. Right.
Get him back to reality.
Get a little bit of technical advice and go back to work.
You know, Cub is always asking me like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, what's out there?
What are you feeling?
Yeah. And I remember sitting down and this is right after the first round, and I'm like, this dude is fast. I said that. I'm like, this dude is fast. I didn't expect him to be that fast. After he recovered, you know, he was making me bite, and I normally don't bite and like into people's like pump fakes or stuff like that. I'm pretty like, I don't care if you do that. Like I could deal with it, but he was really making me bite, and he was freezing me up every time I would pressure, and I'm like, man, what is he doing? And then he will just release his hands, and he would be so fast, and then he would be out of the way with his footwork, and I'm like, man, this dude is like showing me another level right now. I need to somehow figure out how to beat him,
right?
You know, and I started wrestling him. I wrestled him, took him down. I landed a perfect 1-2 in the third round. It just went straight 1-2, double legged him. You know, like it was just, I had to take it old school on him.
It's not even that. It's you use your other tools.
Yeah.
You know,
even though I never wrestle in my fights,
you got it there. You're practicing this stuff. That's that's what I try to explain to people. Is like, somebody asked me recently, like, what do you think is the best martial art? I say mixed martial art. Yeah. Like, dude,
being able to combine.
Right? Because if I get into it with a dude that, you know, is got really good hands and feet, if I'm not capable there, I'm done. I'm toasted there. So I have to be able to do something else. Yeah. And that's why I feel like it's good to be good at everything. Yeah. And so that you training all these years, and maybe not necessarily that's how you want to finish a guy, but being able to switch it up and fight like that, that's one thing you had in the back. And that's because you from Santa Ana, my boy. We're gonna bring of course. But yeah, so you get the dub. It was a split decision.
It was a split decision, which I honestly I didn't feel like it should have been. It should have been unanimous in my opinion. But you know, this is why you can't leave it to the judges, because it's like everybody else's opinion. You know, like they're not fighters either. So like I'm leaving it off to two guys that.
But you know what? Fought. You made the adjustments. You got, you know, you faced adversity. Yeah. And you did your thing, bro. You had made the adjustments and you went in. I feel like sometimes that might be even better for you than getting a 5-second knockout. Oh yeah, the experience that I'm getting out of it, and being able to overcome getting hurt and okay, now I gotta switch this up. I gotta, so man, great job, bro. First of all, making the adjustments to win that fight. So you coming off a victory in the UFC, and you know I was hitting you up like, bro, what's up? You gonna be fighting anybody soon? And like, you know, right now, and that's what we're talking about. Like when you first got here, right? You were coming off from hit and miss with your coach and stuff. Yep. So right now, you coming off a W, so that means you're staying in the UFC. They got to give you another fight. So I know that there's a lot of good featherweights out there, and like these days, bro, I feel like, you know, you got to be a little bit more vocal, and like again, you're from Santa Ana, my boy, so it's like, I know you got somebody on your mind out there that you wanted to see inside that octagon. So it's like, what's up with what's the dude's name again?
Well, they call him the Leech, but Damian Jackson, you know, he actually fought my teammate Dan Argueta. And he beat him, but that was Dan took that in a short notice, and
that was just recently, right?
No, it was last year. They fought.
Dan hasn't been in the UFC too long.
He's I think
for me recently he's like exactly. There's so much going on, but okay, go ahead.
Dan fought him in a week notice or something like that, and he had to go up to 45s to fight him, and Dan's a 35er, so. You know, he's not a fan of Cub, you know, and he beat my teammate, so I kind of want to get it back for the team.
Not a fan. How could you not be a fan of Cub, man? Well,
exactly.
Well, you immediately found someone that doesn't like you over here as well. Then,
yeah, like, cool,
if you don't like Cub, I don't like you either. Then, man,
exactly.
Because Cub's a good dude, man.
But yeah, I'll be willing to fight him. You know, I'm sure he don't know who I am.
Let's get that fight, Damian Jackson. What is he ranked right now?
Yeah, I think he's in the top 20s. But I mean, I'm not that far away from him. You know, and I think
you want to put those hands on his chin.
Yeah.
Hey, Damian Jackson, you heard that he wants to put them hands on your chin. So I would answer back. You know what I'm saying? Let's get that fight going. I think that'd be a great fight for you, bro. I
think so too.
And I think like you will absolutely do your thing.
Yeah. He could fight a real 45 right now.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. Like that's a great. See, that's what I feel like a lot of the guys need to do. Like, kind of know your path. Like, right? Am I right? You kind of know what you want for yourself. Yeah. Like, this is the direction I want my career to take. And again, that's goals and having, you know, I want to go here next, I want to go there, I want to do this. Do you have your goal? I'm sure your goal is to become the 145 champion, right? Are you're happy in this weight class as well? Am I right? So tell me this, right? What do you think of the current champion, Topuria?
Oh, he's great. You know, I hope he stays the champion because I want to fight him.
That dude's very good.
Yeah, I love his boxing.
He surprised me, bro. Like watching his come up, like I was like, oh, this guy's gonna.
He was a sleeper. People didn't know.
I'll be honest with you. I thought, what's dude's name? I thought Ryan Hall was gonna beat him. You know, I always liked Ryan Hall. But man, we just kept throwing those kicks. I was like, oh man, it was like.
Yeah, he kept going for what was it?
The spinning wheel kick over and over again.
No, but yeah, he was keep going for the leg.
Like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like, but then I was like, all right, this kid might be pretty good. And then to see the tear that he's been on, man, that kid's good. Yeah, man. Hopefully, man, that'll be one day. Like,
yeah, him and Holloway,
man. You see the Gaethje and Holloway's nasty, man.
Yeah.
The thing I don't understand is, I get it. The dude's telling you, like, he's pointing at the ground. He's baiting you in there. But dude, you're hurt. Like, you just
if you're losing like that, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, why did he like, to me, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you already lost the fight, and then he looked so, when he got in that combination where those final touches was like, he was super slow, bro. I don't know if it, like, a lot.
No, he had his head down. Yeah, he wasn't even like. He wasn't even conscious of where he was throwing.
Is like, dude, just save yourself for another day, bro. Yeah. Like, you don't gotta.
That was too much ego, in my opinion.
You're pleasing the fans is cool and stuff like that, but man, like, you know, also your brain and stuff too. You gotta,
exactly.
You gotta save that. All right, bro. Like, as we get close to, we know who you want to fight. We got to, you know, go through your career and your upbringing. Bro, couple quick questions. Your favorite fighter? First off, boxer. First off, your favorite boxer ever. Go. The number one guy.
Salvador Sanchez.
Okay.
He's old school.
Okay, yeah. See,
he was the first Mexican, in my opinion, to he would have, no disrespect, but he would have beat Chavez.
Okay.
But he got killed. You know, he beat Asuma Nelson with Gomez. He was a champion. He was really, really good. Switch stances, good head movement. That guy was great. Like,
okay, current
boxer. Terrence Crawford.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Next question I want to ask. Favorite GOAT number one mixed martial artist. Favorite fighter to watch above everybody. Number one guy. What up, everybody? Want to take a quick second out of the podcast just to give a shout out to our sponsor, the best criminal defense attorney I know. The last time I got in trouble, I needed somebody that was going to look into my case and actually fight for me and get me the best deal possible, and he did that. And I'll make sure that he does that for you. Make sure you shout me out if you guys reach out to him. They're the sponsor of the Convo. You know anybody, a family member, or yourself that make a mistake, you want somebody like him on your side. Arash, please let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you. Arash Hashemi, 310-448-1529, or HashemiLaw.com, HashemiLaw.com, or just Google hashtag BetterCallHash. Remember that, BetterCallHash. You'll find me on every social media channel all over the internet. 310-448-1529.
You better call Hash. Everybody's got one guy that like, that's my guy. That's the number one dude I like to watch. And
It sounds biased, but I gotta say Cub now.
Cub,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because
it's not biased, bro. He's dude.
No, yeah, I know, but I mean, like I've copied stuff of him, you know, because I switch stands, you know, like it's just a lot of things that I've tried to do. It's because he's influenced me, and
amazing,
like, and I love watching him fight, you know, and
it's beautiful.
It's great, and I know when he's on, he could beat any 45er.
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure.
When he's on,
he's got hands, he's got the kicks, he's got the full package.
Creativity.
Yeah, very.
Like what he has.
He's fun to watch. That's one thing I'll say
exactly.
about Cub.
That's why I love watching him.
And another thing about Cub, he's never. You know, you've never seen him in a boring fight, bro.
No,
not one of his fights. Whether he wins or he loses, bro, that fight's gonna be they're gonna be cracking.
And he's just like true to himself all the time. You know, like that's the type of person like he's about to fight June 29.
Yeah, respect. Yeah,
and this month against Andre Fili, and it's gonna be a banger, and I know Cub is gonna be on.
Yeah, and Philly's had a lot of fights too. Like, that's a good one, man. You know, shout out to Cub, man. That's a great fighter to look up to, man. And yeah, you know, I feel like you're in the right place, bro. You know what? We have never trained together, but you're like kind of in the same kind of family, you know.
Yeah,
coming up. So man, respect and most of all, you're from the city, my boy. Santa Ana representing, fighting in the UFC. You know. Before we get out of here, bro, anybody you want to shout out? First, I know you want to shout out moms and or you know your family, teammates, anybody. The floor is yours. Shout out your team, sponsors, anybody you want to, and then also drop your social media so people can follow you and all that. And we're gonna put all that in the description as well.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my mom. You know, she single mother. She's you know, she's done her job. You know, that's all I gotta say. And shout out to Knockout Bakery. They're supporting me with meal preps, and you know, man, that guy's food is so good, amazing. Like, you guys need to try his food. Like, I'm a big fan of him. Shout out to Cub. He's about to fight this International Fight Week, the UFC, June 29. Yeah, my Instagram is Danny Silva MMA. Go follow me.
Go follow him, guys, and hopefully, you know, we'll find out that he's got a fight soon. We'll have you back, bro, and we could talk about your, you know, if we do get that, you know, if he does want to see if he can stop, you know, his chin from getting checked, if Mr. Jackson would like to answer and step up, you know, we'll find out.
Might come out with some outcast. Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Guys, the Puma, Danny Silva, up and coming. Featherweight, UFC, one of the best. I'm telling you guys, us Santa Ana boys, we're coming. We're coming for that goal. You guys be on the lookout. Go and follow them. Hope you guys like the show. Like, subscribe, tell your mama and your daddy. Peace.